Hello out there and welcome to the newspaper review here on Tab TV. My name is Robert Jerry, your host for today. And with me here on the studio today is Ekon Bright by my right. It's good to have you here, Ekon Bright, yes. And Eyo Ukeme. With these two persons, we'll be doing our reviews, and you will be wondering why we are in the studios today and we are not out in the streets of Port Harcourt. Well, today there's a heavy downpour. Notwithstanding, it will not stop us from doing what we know how to do best. It's good to have you here, guys.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Welcome. How's the weather treating you?
It feels so good to be here. Like I said, like you said earlier, the weekend was a wild time where we had to relax, and as you know, as a football person,
exactly,
I enjoyed how Arsenal defeated Manchester United, and coming into this new week, we're back again in the raining season, so we are supposed to be seeing like heavy downpours, like once in a while or something like that.
And we've expected it.
Yeah, and we're seeing
the heavy heat.
And you know the road construction that is going on around the Rumosi area. I think some of the time we believe that.
These rainmakers,
they hold the rain. So when it wants to come down, it comes down heavy and hard on the citizens. But it's good to be here again to discuss what bothers Nigerians as a whole. And yeah. So.
How about you, Eyo? I can see you are prepared in your jacket.
Obviously, it feels good to be on this particular show. I would say for the very first time.
Exactly. I can't wait for you to go deep into this analysis.
Notwithstanding, as you can see me, just like you said, I am fully prepared for the weather. Like coming out from the house, I was very certain that it's going to be a heavy downpour. So I came out in just like my friend would say, in a Canadian way. So I didn't come out representing Nigeria. I came out fully suited for the weather. But it's good to be here. We're here to do what we know how to do best, just like you said. So it's an honor yet again to be in your midst.
All right, welcome. Well, you out there can also be a part of this show. Please subscribe to our channel. If you are yet to subscribe, turn on your notification button, connect us across all our social media platforms. And whatever we discuss here, if you have a counter opinion or you have anything to add to it, please do not hesitate to slide to our comment section and drop your comments. Well, today being Monday, May 13th, 2024, we'll be looking first into the Daily Times newspaper. We will see as headline here reads, Electricity Tariff Hike. NLC, TUC to picket NERC. Disco's office today. Details of this story is found on page 4. Federal government working to provide tax relief to 95% of informal sector, says Oyedele. Details is found on page 4. Okonjo-Iweala wants more women in leadership positions, harps on need for Nigeria to continue to diversify her economy. Well, what do you think about that, knowing that how most Nigerians do not want women to venture into politics and even going as far as venturing into leadership positions like top officials? Like I was discussing with somebody some time ago, they were saying a woman can never be Nigeria's president. What do you have to say about that?
We've seen in recent times how women are doing a whole lot of things in our society today. Matching shoulders with the men, coming out there to show that yes, they can do what men can do. And definitely we see that women are the caregivers of the house. So definitely we've seen over time, since we got our independence as Nigeria and as a country, men has been taking the helm of affairs of the nation. And we see that we are going down the drain every time.
You are suggesting we try the women?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing if we give the women an opportunity to also be at the helms of affairs of the country. As they are caregivers of the house, they can also care for our nation, Nigeria, because it's not easy for them to, amidst all of the things happening in our society today, amidst all the economic pressure, amidst all the things that their husbands go out there to face and come back, and the children's and all of that. And you see that is so much work that they are putting in at home. And if you give them much more to do, I believe they can do same. It's not a bad thing for Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to come out and say that, yes, it's high time for women to come out and also push for these things. I could tell you vividly that even in a class of, let's say, 70, and you see one or two ladies coming out to do stuff, if you match their abilities to the male counterparts out there, you can see that they give so much effort. I can remember in my secondary school days, there's one person that I always look out to, Yvonne, a classmate of mine. When Yvonne stands to speak, you know that yes, she's
mentally sound.
Yeah, she beats all of us as male students in class. And that will tell you that if you give these persons the opportunity to do more things,
do better,
to hold positions, they would. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is one person that we could tell a remarkable precedent from time past. She has held remarkable position and she has done exceptionally well. If she's someone that will come out and say yes, she wants to be the president of the nation, don't you think that we would say yes, give her the opportunity to do so? So definitely, it's a high time we give our ladies the chance, we give our female child the opportunity to go through school. You know that time past before they will tell you that the women, they have their place in the kitchen and all of that, but I don't see that happening in the 21st century. It is high time we give them the opportunity to do what they think they can do best, and definitely the sky will be their start point.
Exactly. So what do you think, Mr. Ayo?
Just like what Mr. Combright has said, I feel it is high time we give opportunity to our women, ladies generally. And secondly, looking at it from this angle, I feel men are scared. Like,
exactly, they feel challenged.
Yes. Having to start, they don't want to start a competition they cannot finish. Now, psychologically speaking, it takes only a woman to multitask, and the process of nation building is multitasking, and men cannot do that. So I know each time we bring up this theory of having to allow a woman lead, men will always fight
Especially
it.
Nigerian men.
Nigerian men, in quotes, will always fight it, because we know consciously as men that we are not helping issues, just like what Ekong Bright said. We are actually going down the drain. Governance has failed in our hands, but we know consciously that if we get to allow a woman do it, the difference will be clear.
But then there's something I want to chip in vividly now. We could see that over time, it's also something that we should look at and say, yes, we should give them the opportunity. But also, I want to remind you guys that there was one particular woman that was a minister in Nigeria.
Okay, yes. And we saw how she led the country.
And we saw the outcome of that.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask that if they get into such positions, won't they mismanage it, or maybe the power gets into their heads?
The thing is that when a man gets in, we come into our homes or where we find ourselves, our group, ourselves, or whatever, and in the place of discussion, we try to say that when it comes to corruption, the men are doing the most and all of that. A governor is stealing 8 billion. A minister, a man is
embezzlement comparison.
But do you know how much that woman took from Nigeria?
Exactly. In a span of just few months.
And I don't think
the first time trying a woman in such position, and she did exceptionally well.
Exactly. She came out like, I don't think that particular issue is being swept under the carpet now, because we know for a fact that when it comes to corruption cases in Nigeria, it's very hard for us to get to the bottom of it and
rope those people
apart from the former CBN governor that is facing pressure now. But every other person, from time past, we hear, oh, this governor has stolen this amount of money, this senator has stolen this amount of money. And
that will be the end.
And that's just the end of it. But funny enough, look at this woman. The case was it just came to light, and all we heard was, oh, she had cancer and all of that. And at the end of the day, nobody heard about it again. But in as much as we want to look at that factor, we wouldn't go anywhere, because we've seen the men that have made it's not a yardstick, because we have seen men that have made a lot of mistakes, and this person's let's say if the woman wants to do if a woman wants to embezzle funds, she embezzles funds
for her next generation.
She embezzles funds, but at the end of the day, beyond all of that, all the negativities that we're trying to look out to, I also want to say that giving a woman the opportunity to lead is one thing that I feel like it's high time. Now the society is clamoring for a change, and this is the change that we are not just looking for any woman to come out and say, yes, I can do it, but we want to see your antecedents. What have you done before? How have you helped society? In what way have you impacted the lives of people coming on to this time and tell us that you want to rule a nation? Now, we've seen people come out to be like, oh, they want to be deputies, carrying women as deputies. But at the end of the day, we find out that only the governors that are the men that are active. But what are the women doing? I think this is high time for every person, a woman or whatever, it doesn't necessarily have to be politics itself. That small place that you find yourself, what have you done to impact life? What have you done to impact the life of other people? What have you done that if tomorrow you're not there anymore, people will look back and say, yes, this woman has been exceptional. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was the first minister in Nigeria as a woman to create transparency in terms of funds management in Nigeria. That is what we want to see the women come out to do. That is what we see other male Nigerians and politicians come out to do. And that is setting precedents for other people to follow. If other ladies are going to do this, either in politics or whichever way, then kudos to them. But if they are not going to do that, they should just sit back and let people that are ready to serve do the things that they want to do for Nigerians.
All right, and moving on, let's look into Daily Trust newspaper. We could see here it says, Tinubu won't allow anyone frustrate Rivers government, says presidency. Details is found on page 34. Citizens decry new taxes as federal government entices investors with waivers. Details of this story is found on page 2. Stakeholders unite against out-of-school children menace in Northeast. Details is found on page 19. And at the main story here, we see tenants groan as Abuja landlords increase rent. Sub-story under that reads, property owners blame high cost of building materials. Developers seek signing of real estate bill. Details is found on page 8. The bottom story here reads, troops dislodge terrorists, seizes weapons in Taraba. Details is found on page 10. And this is an issue that affects every one of us. It's about this increment in rent. Now the story here is pointing out to landlords in Abuja, and we know here in Port Harcourt in Rivers State that the increment of rent is still on the hike. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, now it looks as if over time, since let's start from the angle of NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress have demanded for increment. So it looks as if every single angle in Nigeria wants an increment in whatever business they are doing. So our landlords having to come out and tell us that here they'll be increasing our house rent. Now it's not actually should I say it's not something new, because what gets to affect, you can't be here increasing salaries of workers, and I am siding the part of the landlords now, because
maybe because you are landlords.
No, we're not looking at it from that angle. Okay. But for the fact that there has been an increment, because as 2 days back, I saw on the headline that federal government are approving the 165 minimum wage for workers. That's to say, in the space of, let's say, 2 months to come, most workers will start getting the 165. So you cannot be paying a house rent of, let's say, 100K at that 2 years back,
30,000 naira,
and you're expecting your landlord to keep quiet. Everybody needs, the heat we are facing in the nation gets to affect everybody. So our landlords having to come out to say, see, they are increasing. It is actually, we're not against them. We're not against them, because the increment has over time been coming, and just like one of the landlords said, there has been a rise in dollar over time. So why would I keep my house rent where it used to be? As long as Nigeria is changing, there has to be a change all around.
But unlike other commodities and other issues in Nigeria that increases, like the removal of subsidy, at least the transport system can be excusable for the removal of subsidy. Sure. The prices of commodities, goods and services outside can be excusable for the hike in transportation. If you ask any business person why you selling these goods for this price, they would say we transported our goods when we bought petrol to fuel to run our generator for a certain period of time. So we have to add these expenditures. But for the landlords, are they using petrol are they fueling the houses or what? So this is something that we should look into.
But I don't see it as something that should be in that light.
Exactly.
Because now you're telling me that as a landlord, you have to wait for me as your tenant
to have an increment.
To have an increment. So how would you know? How would you know if the increment has actually affected me? Because the truth of the matter is just that I understand the part of the landlord and all of that, but I feel like it's a two-way thing. I'll always come from both angles. Now, I'm a tenant living in your house. We are both facing the harsh economy, like you said. So why are you increasing your rent?
I was opportunity to speak to a particular landlord that that is a retiree. Now, the reason why I am actually pressing on this point is for the point of money circulation, for money to actually go round. If there has been an increment, now imagine I retired 10 years back and I own an apartment and I feed from this apartment and you're paying me like 120 every year. Now,
And you've been paying me that same amount for like 5 years.
For 5 years.
You need
now,
growth and
obviously.
expansion.
Now, in as much as you said there should be some level of change, but I feel for money circulation, for the fact that you're earning higher now.
How do you know I'm earning higher? I don't come to you as a landlord and tell you, oh, I've been promoted in my office. The only thing you can tell me concerning this particular issue is based on the fact that there should be a regulatory body formed by the federal government
In Nigeria.
that could
Is that even possible?
It's possible. There has to be a benchmark at which now the benchmark, we cannot place a benchmark on the figure itself. So we look at percentage. What percentage increase are you looking at for? Are you adding a 10% benchmark to, okay, for every house rent that I'm increasing, there has to be a 10% rise on it? And that's I feel like if it happens like that, no tenant will be like on the other side and saying, oh no.
Obviously.
All right, thank you very much for that analysis. Well, let's go for a very quick break. When we come back, we look into the last story for today. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back from that very quick break. I must commend you for staying up to this time. Well, without wasting much of our time, let's look into the last newspaper for today, looking at the national economy. You can see a headline here, it says, Federal Government's Cash Transfer Program Limited in Impact, says World Bank. Details is found on page 5. The main story here on the national economy says, failed transactions, bank customers' frustration persists despite surge in e-payment transactions. Sub-story under reads, Nigeria records 234 trillion naira e-payment transactions in the first quarter of 2024. Details is found on page 5. Lastly, the bottom story here reads, leveraging infrastructure, sharing to cut Nigeria's telecom expenses. Details is found on page 17. And the main story that I want us to talk about is this one that says, CAC sets July 7 deadline for POS operators registration. You could see that in recent times, they were saying all POS merchants, if you own a POS, you have to register it under CAC. So what's your thought about that? Remember that some persons are private users of this POS, some persons are businesses that are registered already, while some persons are POS merchants that do POS transactions as their businesses. What do you have to say about that?
Just like we always say, the timings are wrong, but though the process is very okay, because this will actually help checkmate the fraudulent activities we've had over time. But the timing is completely wrong, because I can't just I cannot just be this very little POS merchant in the street and having to go and register. How much do this little POS? Let's not talk about the supermarket now. Those ones that have been in the business for long. Now let's get to address the very common one that just wants to start POS as a little means of livelihood. Now you're going to go and register for CSC that's over 40 to 70K. Where do they expect a common Nigerian to get such funds? So at this point, I feel this is, and the deadline is already out. July 7th. Where do they expect a common Nigerian that is actually living life?
You say this, the way you say this common Nigeria.
Like they were suffering so much.
No, we are suffering as
No, everybody is suffering, no doubt.
Obviously.
But at the end of the day, I want to look it from the angle where we look at before you venture into any business, because it's a business.
Obviously.
It's a business basically because you're making profit from it. So definitely, I feel like you should register for it.
See, are you of the opinion that I just started a little kiosk and you expect me to my capital is like 20K?
I would say over time, if we want to be true to ourselves, we could say that over time, the federal government has been putting up procedures for people for the country itself to get a possible data analysis, a possible data of the people.
To aid accountability.
Yes, to aid accountability, definitely. Now, they started with everybody a BVN. You should link your accounts to have a BVN, a means of identification, and blah, blah, blah. And all of that, they come up with the NIN stuff, linking your SIM card and all of that. Now, that is also a good start. So this is also like a form of checkmating people that are using the POS machine.
Okay, I agree with you, but how about the deadline?
That's the point.
Okay, fine. The deadline might look a little bit closer.
No, it doesn't look. It is. No, bro. It is very
because if you look at it, we are in May. There's June.
Really.
And there's July.
Okay.
I will not say it's a whole lot of it's a lot of time, but I think it's achievable.
But-
it's achievable.
but if we are to look
because
at it
because if you want to look at it, starting up a business and you're not registering for it, why are you? Because I'm coming as a person to trade with you, like to use your POS machine, and you're charging me. You should be accountable for taxing.
Then how about these businesses that do not charge when you use their POS machines? Like these filling stations, they do not take charges. When you get petrol from them, you buy diesel, they don't have charges.
Do they
Are
make,
expected to? I remember that.
Do they make gains from me buying petrol from the company?
They make gains from your buying from them.
So definitely,
Now,
the use of
but their
POS,
gain comes more.
the
Their
use
gain
of
comes more
POS
when you
is
bring
for
cash.
ease. No, we are for Nigerians. We always see the thing about Nigerians is one moment we sit back and say we want this, and the next moment when we have that in our face and there are some little challenges that come with it, we say, oh, we want to go back to how it is before.
Now,
of the supermarket.
how about these organizations, these businesses that have their company name registered under CAC? Are they expected to still register their POS machine that is affiliated to that same business?
You register it under the name of the.
Now, if Mr. A's company is A Enterprises,
Yes.
then A Enterprises is registered.
Yes.
If that's registered the POS, they will say A Enterprise POS.
Definitely.
Registered separately, and they will be renewing the same money.
No. It should be under the same company name.
Why not just link it rather than them registering and paying?
Now, at this point, they are telling them to register their
Separately.
POS, in quote, not their businesses.
It's the POS under the business.
No.
Separately POS under, separately as its own.
You know, there are persons that run POS as a business.
These are people that should be targeted.
Exactly. That is
Basically.
what we are trying to say.
These are people that should be targeted basically. But if you tell me that for every supermarket, for every filling station that has a POS registered, because you go to, imagine getting to a filling station and you want to make use of the POS. It shows you the POS, the filling station's account.
But this is one of the reasons why I see no good reason why they want this POS registration, because every POS machine is affiliated to a bank account.
Yes.
So it is easy to, if you want to trace a POS, if you really want to trace a POS, you trace it to a bank account where that transaction happened, the location, and the bank that it registered the last transactions, and every balance in that account. And you are eligible to freezing that account.
For every POS merchant to come out, we go by the street and we see a POS kiosk and they tell you, come and make your transaction here. What's your business name? It's just the POS. Is that your business? Is that your business name?
You're trying to say that the government are viewing it from a business.
Definitely.
So my basic opinion is that at this point, there are provisions for this. In as much as we know that as Nigerians, we don't go, we don't like due processes of having to get your receipt after every transaction. But it all boils back to the point, let federal government get to reduce, bring down the timeline. I'm hearing June 7th already. July 7th.
They should extend it.
They should extend it, but
it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. To tackle. Not that we have not been tackling fraudulent activities before now. This is the higher ground. So my kindly opinion, please, let federal government get to extend this date, because it actually affects. We'll just wake up one day and we'll not see our POS agent. That's what I see now, because I still remember those days we have to queue up at the bank. Of late, I can't remember when the last time you use your normal ATM machine. Because
do these ATMs even dispense cash?
We wouldn't know. When you keep making use of the POS merchants on the road, how would you know if the POS?
But they are saving lives, so that notwithstanding, they are saving lives.
But they are charging us more.
Okay. That was during the election.
They're charging us more.
They've changed.
Do you think so?
All right, this is where we draw our curtains for today. You've heard everything that has been discussed here. And if you have a counter opinion, or if you have anything to add to it, do not hesitate to slide to our comment section and drop your comments. Subscribe to our channel if you are yet to subscribe. Turn on your notification button and connect with us across all our social media platforms. My name is Obed Jerry, your co-host for today. And this has been Bright here with me and Eyo Keme. It's good to have you here, guys.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
We'll see you next time.